Look, I think in hindsight, maybe I should have taken one of those Paul Wellstone classes on running a campaign first and then run for Senate. Would have made a certain amount of sense. Look, I got to tell you that a couple of years ago, I had a fairly normal existence. 2.1 kids, house in the suburbs. Things were going pretty well. But it just seemed to me that my incumbent senator was wrong on the defining issues of the day. And I'm sorry he was a Democrat, but I thought he should be challenged. And as I went around the state of Connecticut, I talked to all the poobahs of the Democratic Party, and they said, don't do it, don't rock the boat, don't jeopardize a safe seat. I talked a little bit to the mainstream media. The Hartford Courant resulted in a cartoon, a picture of a guy with eyeballs like a saucer and a big grin like this and a button that said, Ned Who. And I told my wife, Annie, man, this can get really embarrassing fast. And it was at that point that I found out a lot about the blogs, the progressive blogs. You know, one of the first posts I read said, I don't know a damn thing about Ned Lamont, but I know a lot about Joe Lieberman. Why don't you go on up to Naples Pizza up in New Haven and hear what he has to say? And all of a sudden, early on, we had 150, 200 people hanging from the rafters of a pizza place in New Haven, all for the former 3rd Selectman of Greenwich, which is not exactly a hotbed of progressive ideals. And I know a lot of the old media likes to belittle the new media. Well, the old media to me is sort of corporatized, and they sort of regurgitate the same old conventional wisdom. But I don't think the new media is all that new at all. I think it dates back to a lot of when our democracy was its most energized and its most alive, back during revolutionary America, back when you had the essayists writing under pseudonyms, delivering their pamphlets all over the 13 colonies and making our country greater for it. You remember it was Tom Paine who wrote Common Sense, signed it anonymous, and distributed hundreds of thousands of pamphlets around the country. Yeah, it was Publius. Who was Publius, you know? Wrote the Federalist Papers. That was Madison. That was Hamilton. Who was Silence Dogwood? Ben Franklin. Hey, smart group over there. These were the folks that were energizing our democracy. These are the people that were stirring it up and asking the tough questions. And that's just what the progressive blogs are doing in our country today. They are making our democracy stronger. They're allowing challenges to take place. And they are going to make this country a better place for it. So look, what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask all the progressive bloggers to start coming up here on stage. The right-wing bloggers can stay right where you are. But I'd like to come up. I'd like to recognize each and every one of you. And while you're doing that, I want to say a word of thanks for a man named Steve Gilliard. Steve posted on a blog, then did his own blog for a few years. He died just less than 3 weeks ago. Steve would not want us to remember all that he did in silence. Steve was not best when he was silent. Steve was best when he spoke out loud and clear, and I think we should remember Steve Gilliard with a loud round of applause for everything he did. These people behind me, they're the fact checkers. They get out the grassroots. They're the essayists. They're the columnists. They're the people who are bringing our democracy back to life. They're bringing in challenges. They're going to open up the process. And I think on behalf of the bloggers and the progressive bloggers, somebody who you know has operated for some time now under the pseudonym Digby. Digby, I'd like you to come out and accept the Paul Wellstone Award on behalf of all the bloggers here. Thank you.